right, so today we're here with Captain Steve Pope. He is the fire captain in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, the Turner Station right by your school.
At the Turner Station right by our school. He's going to talk to us today a little bit about becoming an EMT and what he does as a firefighter EMT. Welcome, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Our kids, I know I have a few that are really excited about being an EMT. First off, where'd you go to school at before that?
I went to Kansas City, Kansas Community College. I kind of knew I wanted to be a firefighter. Hopefully, like your kids, have an idea that's what they want to do. And so I put in the time. It takes like 6 months to get through the program. Then you have to take the state test and pass that before you get your license from the state.
Okay. So with the program at KCK, did you do that straight out of high school?
No, I didn't really get into knowing I really wanted to do the fire service until probably I was 20 maybe.
Okay.
And then I started doing the EMT knowing that you needed to have that to get on most fire departments across the country.
Right.
But especially in the metro area.
Right.
So
now as a captain, what is something that you wish you would have known, as a 18, 20-year-old about becoming a firefighter or becoming a EMT, or something that you wish you would have done differently during that time frame?
Well, it's hard to look back 24 years now, but the fast track to the fire service now is to become a paramedic.
Right.
So if 6 months as an EMT and then another year and a half going through the paramedic program, that's the fast track to be in the fire service. So if I would have maybe known that, taken a paramedics class years ago now, 24 years ago, it might have, I love working for my local fire department where I grew up, but it expands your choice where you can go, especially for kids coming out of high school that you're talking about. Right. Their choices of employment across the country.
How do you go about becoming a what's the difference between just the basic EMT and being a paramedic?
So EMT is emergency medical technician, and the paramedic, or MICT, is a mobile intensive care.
Okay.
So EMTs can only do so much, whereas the paramedics can give drugs. They can, everything's automated now pretty much with the AEDs,
right.
But the paramedics can use the shockers, the paddles if they need to. There's the big difference is the drugs, the IVs that they can give. So they're like street doctors, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Whereas
so a mobile doctor.
Whereas an EMT, you could say, is like a nurse at a hospital, if you want to use an analogy.
Categorize it that way.
Now,
as a firefighter, what other training besides being EMT training did you have to go through?
Well, so I have my fire science degree from Kansas City, Kansas Community College. So you learn fire science 1, fire science 2, firefighter 1 and 2. It's pretty much the same thing. And then you also have to do like a hazmat little class there, so you can be the initial responder.
Right.
You can't get all the suits on with that training, but you at least know how to approach a situation better. Downwind, upwind, you learn all that stuff. So there's what you can do to become a firefighter, once you get your EMT. Because like I said, most departments across the country that I know of require you to be an EMT at least.
Okay. What's a product or something that you guys have at the station that is an essential, something that you use, every day, not just your axe, your suit or whatever, but something that you use on an everyday basis that would be fun for somebody getting into or thinking about EMT to look into practicing or looking at doing?
Well, something in the fire service now, we handle medical calls. It used to be before I came on 25 years ago, they were just EMTs on the job. Paramedics were on the ambulance.
Okay.
So now we have paramedics on the pumper trucks because we get there quickly.
Right.
There could be an ambulance at a hospital still or whatnot, but so what we use to answer your question is the medical equipment. And so the oxygen, the SpO2, we can put the pads to read their heart. As an EMT, you assist that paramedic with that.
Okay.
And then they'll analyze the reading from the 12 lead is what it's called, EKG.
Yep.
So
being familiar with the EKG a little bit, knowing how to put the leads on.
Yeah, what ribs, and you'll learn that in EMT class. So.
Right. As somebody that's interested in maybe firefighting or EMT, paramedic line of field, what's a book that you would recommend a kid to read?
Well, one of the big ones that we use for our training purposes in our fire academies are firefighting essential books. You can get those online. You can just Google all that, and they'll pop up everywhere.
Okay.
But there's Firefighter 1 books, Firefighter 2, and then you have the EMS, EMT books that pop up. I can't remember the names on the top of my head. It's been so long, but yeah, I recommend just Google what you need, and that way, you know, that's a good thing about today's technology and today's world is you don't have to go to a library to find this stuff. I mean, I recommend still going to a library, but
absolutely. So it's something that you've been able to do. As you guys can see, we're out at a golf course today, coaching some young boys in their season. Something that you've been able to do to put together. I know one of the questions I talk about is how do you cope with seeing the stressors of your everyday life through work? And I know that this is something that you are working on as a passion project. Just, you know, dealing with the pressures of seeing a fire firsthand, or seeing people that have maybe lost their house or stuff like that. You know, that affects you. I mean, not as much as it affects them, but it affects you being the first responder, being the person there, seeing what's going on. So how do you, what's something that you've done to like help cope with that?
Well, like you mentioned, we're out here on a golf course. Golf is a passion of mine, and I use golf to help me decompress, reinvigorate back into family life, because as I've learned through my struggles is that it's hard to have a solid family life with the things that first responders see. It's called allostatic load, and I've talked to you about this before. That load builds up over time, and it puts strain on relationships with family, friends over time, and you don't even realize it's happening. I'm dead serious when I say that to people. I didn't realize what I was doing to my family, and now that I've recognized what is causing that, and using the game of golf with what, like you said, the passion project, going to bring other first responders out to a golf course, and we're just going to decompress, have camaraderie, rapport with each other, and help each other get through the things that we see that build up over time. Because it's not just one thing that can do it. If you see, for example, a bad wreck where a child's killed, that can traumatize someone beyond belief. Or with my situation, that buildup of seeing things over time has affected me. So that's what, you know, my passion with golf helps me, as well as I want to bring that to help others. You know, even you as a teacher, you have stresses. And, you know, I think you love golf just like me. So.
Absolutely. So with that, you're putting together a golf tournament?
Golf tournament on August 9th this year at Dubs Dread for my first responder golf foundation that I started with everything I just talked about previously about bringing first responders together for what's called PAR events. It's called Peers and Rapport. So using the word PAR acronym, I feel that first responders are like at a bogey and double bogey, to use those analogies. And I'm just trying to bring people back to par. Hopefully they feel like a birdie when they leave. You know, so that's trying to help my brothers and sisters, police, EMS, doctors, nurses. Hopefully it can grow into something special in the future. So I'm excited.
I think that's pretty cool. So when you kind of decided that you wanted to go into EMT, what was that like? The why? What was the passion behind that?
Well, for me, it's just about helping people. You and I both played sports growing up. That camaraderie that you build with your teammates, and so I kind of played baseball to junior college, and I wanted that still. And it just brought me into it. I had a neighbor that was a firefighter growing up, so that kind of brought my attention to firefighting and EMT, and then so that's what got me going in that direction.
Nice. So if somebody wants to be an EMT, not just inside of the Kansas City region, but somewhere else, how do they go about maybe shadowing or coming in to learn more about it? You know, maybe spend a day with somebody, ride along. How do they do that?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's what, when he first brought that up, that's what I was thinking. So you can go to find our headquarters number, Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department. But you can reach out, like you said. It doesn't have to be here in the metro, but anybody that sees this, contact your local fire department. They usually have a ride-along program. You have to sign some documentation to get approval to do it, and clear waivers or whatnot.
Right.
But even if someone in, like some of your Turner kids want to come right along to the station, they can come and just see things. But if they actually want to ride on the fire truck, they need to get approval.
Okay.
So it just contact your local fire department to come right along and see what it's like. If not, just go knock on a door. We're happy to have you there and show the equipment and see if it's something you'd want to do.
Right. Awesome. A quote that you have that kind of lives your life by a quote? Do you have anything that is a motivational life passion quote?
Well, as you know, with what I've built over the last year and a half, it'd be like, stay self-aware of the stresses that cause problems in your life from the things we see. Now, you mentioned something, if I would have known something beforehand earlier, if I would have known the stresses that this job has, and that's my passion, is to let our fire academy guys and girls know that this job can cause these problems and to be aware of it. So stay self-aware of the stresses. This works for you as a teacher. Be aware of the stresses because they can cause problems. And I never thought I was a stressful person. Never did. I thought my life's peachy keen. I'm going along just fine, playing golf. Nope. Cause family problems. So, other people commit suicide.
Right.
Substance abuse. So that's what I'm trying to get the message out with that. I have a passion for my job. I have a passion for this game.
Right.
And, I'm proud of being in the fire service because, like we mentioned earlier, I just love helping people. I think you as a coach, you love helping people with what you're trying to do with fitness and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm just excited for the future of everything and I'm happy to help anybody that wants to get into the fire service.
Awesome. Last question I always ask everybody is, if you don't like blank, then being a firefighter, EMS, paramedic is not for you.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I hear it a lot of times. If I can add, if you don't like blood,
right,
that's one of them. If you're afraid of possibly fire, when it gets hot in there, it gets dark.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, it's scary, but we're trained to overcome that and trained how to handle it. But some people can't. So I would say blood, and if you're afraid of fire, then you got to become a teacher.
Something like that. Well, awesome.
By the way, I'd be a teacher if I wasn't a firefighter, because I much respect for my wife's a teacher, so much respect for you guys.
Right. Once again, Steve Pope and his Firefighter Golf on YouTube, as well as First Responders
Golf Foundation. Yep, and that goes live here quick. So.
So it should be live once this comes out.
Yep.
So if you guys have any questions, please be sure to reach out to either myself or your local fire department, and hopefully this is some good information for you guys to wanting to be a EMT or firefighter.
Well, and if any of your kids, bring them over to the fire station if you
absolutely
want to. Yeah. So
I'll have one probably call you this week.
Okay. Well, look forward to it, and then I'll let you know my schedule, so I'm there at the station. So.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be nice.
Thanks.
All right.